Thinking.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Six Pack Cinema. And this week we are talking about A Quiet Place, starring John Krasinski and his wife Emily Blunt. Jimmy, what did you think of A Quiet Place?
Directed by John Krasinski as well.
And co-written.
Oh, that's cool. This was a good movie. I liked it a lot. I am not a huge sci-fi or even huge horror film fan. So it takes, like, in my opinion, a good movie for me to enjoy that experience, like transcend it, because I don't gravitate towards this genre. But I thought this was really well made. Super interesting concept. The attention to detail was great. I walked away. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I've been tweeting about it all week since I saw it. I love this movie. I went in just thinking, I'm a fan of Emily Blunt. I like The Office, so I'll like this, or at least be entertained by it. And I fell in love with this movie. I think it's going to be in my top 5 for the year already. I'm saying that.
Wow, we don't even have Oscar season near.
Yeah, if
Or
John Krasinski doesn't get nominated for something, either acting, directing, or writing for this, I'll be upset.
Yeah. I mean, well, we'll see. It's very early. It's a lot of other movies that need to come out. But it was really good. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Signs a little bit, and it reminded me of the alien thing, or the creature reminded me of the Stranger Things creature, just the actual physical appearance of it.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit. And you're not the only person who brought up Signs. A buddy of mine he saw it yesterday, and he was talking to me about it. And he said the tension in each scene reminded him of when he saw Signs back in the day, just because even when the monster wasn't there, there's just so much, like, the slightest thing could go wrong, and he hadn't felt that. And I agree to a certain extent since Signs. Whether you love or hate that movie, the tension in that was great.
I like Signs, and I thought in the cornfields and all that shit probably helped jog the memory from Signs a little bit, and the creature in the cornfield. Yeah. I also thought the attention to detail on this thing was great, which reminded me a little bit of Get Out, where it just, like, they really honed in on little details to make you understand the world a little bit. It was really good telling the story without dialogue movie, because you couldn't have that much dialogue. So you had to tell everything without dialogue, which is crazy.
Yeah, I want to see all the scenes in that basement again, so I can slowly read all the newspapers on the wall and everything to see, because I'm sure there's a whole other world just in those newspaper clippings that we're not going to be able to figure out until we can go, like, frame by frame looking at this movie. Mm-hmm.
Like the sand, the first time I thought the attention to detail was cool was the sand. That was when they were walking back and they were barefoot on sand to make less noise. Mm-hmm. I thought I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This is a well thought out film.
Yeah, I like that. And I liked throughout their house, there was just painted marks on the floor where they knew to step so that it wouldn't cause any creaks in the house.
Yep, I like that. I didn't like how the picture frames were still on the wall, and they showed her walking through the hallway, and she fixed a picture frame, like readjusted it. And I thought that was foreshadowing that picture frames were going to fall off the wall,
mm-hmm.
and cause noise. And I was like, well, that makes no sense that they even have the picture frames on the wall, allowing that risk to take place when they're so precautious with everything else.
That's funny. That's the one thing that stood out to me too when that exact scene, when she fixed the picture frame. In my head, I was like, really? You're not going to take them all down?
It was definitely a red herring, because the way they had her fix it couldn't have been for anything else. Like, that was just to make us think the picture frames were important.
Yeah. Did you notice also in the very beginning when they're in that, like, CVS or drugstore or whatever, picking up supplies, the entire store is, for the most part, picked clean, except for all the snacks that come in bags, like chips.
Sun chips were all there.
Yeah, I thought that was a good touch. That just nobody touched the sun chips in this world.
Yeah. Now the attention to detail is great, and I'll stay on that before I move into. There were some things that I thought they could have told us more about, but we'll stay attention to detail. The lights, that they knew, like, these creatures messed with the frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
So having the whole yard lit and then the lights would flash every time it was near, that was a cool detail and attention to detail. the fact they couldn't see you, like they told us that through the newspaper or like all his notes. It said, they're blind.
Yeah.
So
Silent was the key or whatever.
The waterfall scene was really well done. How he shows them that the water, you can yell because it's not as loud, and then that ends up saving the baby because she dips behind and the water's dripping, and it's louder than the baby crying. I thought that whole thing was cool. It's like a bit obvious when it happens, but it's cool when it happens. You're like, oh, the water.
Yeah, for sure. Touching on the waterfall scene, how did you feel about him not bringing the deaf girl there? Because I took away a different message than my girlfriend. So I'm wondering what you thought.
I haven't discussed it with anyone. I didn't. I thought he didn't bring her there because it wouldn't be rewarding for her like it would for the kid.
Thank you. That's what I took away, was that it was something that was going to be very, like, if he had fixed her hearing aid, he would have brought her there so that she could understand it. But the fact that she couldn't hear anything yet, there's just, like, he wanted to share that moment with his son who could experience, like, being able to talk for the first time in years.
Yep.
Or 8
like,
years.
Yeah, like if he brought her there, the son would be so happy that he can talk, and she would be like, this is the same for me. Nothing's different. And that would be a little bit of a downer for her. That's what I took it. How did your girlfriend take it?
She thought that he was still just mistrustful of her and, like, didn't want her off the farm.
I never got that feeling at all. Like, I thought they didn't play up the tension or between the two of them that much. Like, when he was like, I loved you, I loved you, I always loved you. I saw people say that made them cry, and it was really moving.
Okay, I teared up at that. I straight up started tearing up during that scene.
I needed more tension before them, where, like, he actually did show that he was angry at her. He never actually showed he was angry at her.
I don't think he was angry at her ever. I think it was more he was worried her disability would, like, put herself and others in danger. So he was just very worried for her, which is why he didn't want her to leave the farm, especially after they lost their kid in the beginning. So, and she, as a kid, just mistook that.
Yeah.
That, at least that's what I took away from it.
No, I think you're right. It never, like, instilled that much in my brain that they were actually fighting, or, like, she thought he didn't love her.
Yeah. I don't know. How thoughts on that first kid biting the dust?
Really good technique for the film. Like, to open up with that, because it really set the world right away. The grocery store, deserted. Okay, they're the only survivors. No food's left. Okay. And then they're really worried about sound when the girl, like, runs to pick up that one to catch the rocket when it falls. And then I think the first words are like, no, too loud, by Krasinski. So just that whole first scene set up the whole world. And then you're in your brain, you think, okay, something tragic happened. Okay, they're really worried about this. What could it be? And then you see the monster. So it's like a payoff right away. And then after that scene, you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done.
You start the movie killing off like a 2-year-old, you know nobody's safe. Like, that was a quick and cheap but effective way to get everyone nervous, get the tension up, and also feel for this family.
Yeah, I agree. What pissed me off is that they let that kid walk behind them. Yo, bookend those kids, parents.
Yeah. But I mean, nobody's perfect, I feel like. That's a stupid mistake I could see parents doing in real life.
He even let his son walk behind him on the way home from the waterfall, and I was, like, yelling at the screen in my head, like, yo, put your son in front of you, dude.
Yeah. I
mean,
know.
As a parent, we'll have to get Sheedy's opinion in a couple years, Sheehan's opinion in a couple years, when he has, like, a kid that can walk. You never put your kid behind you.
Yeah, but I feel like in this world, you kind of want to go first around things in case there is a monster just standing there.
I guess so.
I don't know. But that when they're walking back from the waterfall and see that guy.
Yeah. That guy he was really good at scrunching his face up.
Oh. Absolutely. But at first, like, just for a split second, it looked like Anthony Hopkins to me. I thought it was going to be like a small little cameo by him.
Oh. Did you know he was going to yell?
No, I had no idea what was going to happen. I didn't know if he was going to attack them because there's that other dead body there.
That was weird. So it like got the dead body and then left.
Yeah, or I don't know if that crazy guy killed someone he was surviving with.
Yeah.
Because I also like that they showed these weren't the only survivors. That one scene at night when he is lighting the fire on top of the silo and he like looks around and you see little fires go up around like in
So
the
that's
hills.
what that was. Those were all the other survivors.
Yeah, I think those were all like little families or camps of people.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I mean, I thought that, but I didn't have it confirmed.
Well, I wasn't sure at first because he was just staring and there was a couple of fires, so I didn't know if that was just random fires. But when he turned his head and it did the panning shot and you see fires go up across like the countryside.
Yeah. So I didn't know if he was setting like an elaborate like forest trap, like the way his lit, it just like trickled down. That's what I first thought. Like a line of gasoline, like it just lit all of them. And then I was like, it can't be right. Yeah. But speaking of panning, this was filmed pretty cool. There was a lot of shots where they panned to the reveal. Like her laying in the tub, they went by like the end of the tub and then slid all the way down to like her face and then the monster behind her and shit like that. Some cool camera work.
For sure. I gotta harp on it again. I'm very impressed with John Krasinski for his first directorial and writing like credit. This is for your first time doing this, for it to be a huge motion picture and get such rave reviews from, it seems like unanimous out there. I was a little thrown off because I've only ever seen him in The Office. I haven't seen any of his movie roles. Have you?
Yeah, there's one movie called, it's the name of a family. I like him and other stuff, but he's never done anything like this, I don't think. It's similar to Get Out in that way, too, where you have this somewhat comedic writer who writes, directs, and acts in a movie that is of a completely different genre and level of what he's done before. He's done like, you know, kind of fun,
goofy roles. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really impressive.
I do want to talk about though how The Office, I think that prepared John Krasinski for this because
that one scene.
Well, just you've seen The Office, obviously, and anyone listening, if you haven't, I don't know how, go watch The Office. But the amount of times he pans to the camera and just conveys like a perfect emotion with his face in that show. Whereas in this movie, 95% of the dialogue is unspoken. It's either through hand signals or on their face. And I felt both he and Emily Blunt, but him especially, all the emotions they showed on their face throughout the entire film. The film needed to be carried by them.
They're married in real life, so it's just a fun experience. Like they were awesome.
Yeah. Well, tidbit, I was listening to interviews with Krasinski this past week, and apparently when he wrote the part, he really wanted her to do it. But he's like, I'm not going to ask her because there's only two answers. Where one, she's like, yeah, I'll do your little film for you, like as a favor to him. Or two, she just is like, no, I don't want to do this movie, and crushes him. So he had hired someone else. Like they weren't
really?
Officially hired, but he had sent the script and been like, you're going to have this part. And she nagged him enough to read the script. And then she's like, you need to fire our friend so that I can do this part.
That's awesome. She was awesome.
Yeah, she was fantastic. She's one of those actresses that if people ask me to name a really talented, like top of the line actress, I never think of her, but everything she's in, she's astounding.
Yeah, for sure. All right. You want to talk about some things we didn't like, mix it up a little bit?
Sure.
I don't think I got nothing. This isn't a major criticism at all. I just kind of wish I knew a little more background about how fast like this happened, a little background about the family itself. I'm guessing that was their farm. Did they just find that and set up there? At the first scene, she gave the little boy medicine. That never got readdressed. What was that for?
I think it was just to show that like the world's still going on and people get sick and sometimes you need to get medicine.
Yeah, but I feel like it was going to play back or something.
Yeah, I could have seen that paying off. It didn't bother me that it didn't, but I get what you're saying. And yeah, I do assume this is their farm, just because what are the odds? of them finding a farm when you have to be silent. I don't think you're going to try and move at all. And about how quick it took over, I know when the movie started, the first title card said like day 63. So it'd only been like 2 months.
Oh, wow. Well, I thought it said day 500 at some point.
They cut forward after the kid died. The kid died at like a couple months into this whole ordeal.
Oh, how long was it after he died in between him dying and them? Like a year? 2 years?
Yeah, I think it showed like in the beginning it said day 63 and then it cut forward to like day 400 something.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I missed the first time the day showed up. I saw the second time.
The world went to crap very quick.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about just with you. What do you think that must have been like? Like how many creatures could have killed all those people? Because didn't they say there wasn't that many in the area? There's like 3 in the area?
Yeah, well, 3 confirmed in the area.
But I mean, the world.
Yeah, you have no idea how many there are out there. If there's other countries functioning perfectly fine and they just can't do anything to help America.
And all the animals and all the humans in the world, and these, like, what did that look like? Were these creatures just like robo bunnies? They just never stopped killing for like every second of every day? Because that's a lot of human life to be destroying in a month's time.
What I'd like to see is like on the DVD when this comes out or something is a short like 10 to 15 minute film just detailing like the mass destruction when like these things come from space or wherever they come from.
Yeah, I saw someone had a bunch of critiques, and one of them was, why didn't they build a house by the waterfall? And someone responded, well, how the fuck are they going to build a house quietly?
Yeah, I saw that online too. And like, come on, you can't just build a house. Yes, the waterfall makes some noise, but it's not going to mount like a drill and setting up a fucking log cabin.
Yeah, and the other one was, if guns work on the animals or creatures, why didn't the army like figure that out?
I think they don't work most of the time. Its head was all like shaky from the whatever vibrations of the sound, the frequency, like because one of his notes was that they have armor. So I imagine people tried to shoot them at first and it didn't do much.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. I didn't have that many complaints. My only complaint is that I wanted to know more about the story, and that's not really a complaint. It's just I liked it so much, I want to know more.
Yeah, for sure. I feel the same way. I'm actually going to freeze frame this when it comes out to like rent online. I want to read all those newspapers because I feel based on the rest of the level of detail in this story, there's going to be some cool, like interesting tidbits in there.
Okay, what about the nail? I feel like we got to talk about the nail.
That nail's like made me more anxious and set up more tension for this movie than anything else.
It was a bigger villain than the creatures.
Oh yeah, she doesn't step on that nail, none of this happens.
It was great, and I'll allow that like a piece of laundry just lifted up a nail perfectly on a board of wood. It's pretty bizarre and kind of stupid.
But yeah, you gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, I will. Like, I'll acknowledge that that's crazy and dumb, but in the movie it worked and it built tension. I was surprised no one else ever stepped on it because they showed that it was still sticking up when she walked the kids down there.
Yeah, I thought for sure the monster was gonna step on it.
Me too. I thought someone was gonna step on it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they did that really well. The whole giving birth scene was crazy. The time clock. Once the action got going, the movie was great. So the first act, let's see if we break it down to the first act was in the grocery store. I thought they did a really, really good job with that and presenting the world, like I previously said. And the third act is really long and starts from the nail stepping all the way until the very end.
Yeah.
The middle, the waterfall, the dinner, him being downstairs doing SOS, I was getting so sleepy because there's no talking.
I love that though. It was just so well done, and you needed that middle act to set up the last like third of the movie. You couldn't have it just be like a straight action thing because it loses so much then.
And the way the whole end went sequence was crazy and like exciting the whole time. Mm-hmm. I will say that silo scene, fuck that. I don't want to see little kids drowning in grain ever.
Seriously. That was like, I didn't know that could happen. I'm assuming it can happen, and now I am terrified. If I ever have kids, they're never visiting a farm with a silo.
If I have to rank the villains in this film, 1, the nail. 2, the silo. 3, the creatures that are going around murdering every piece of human life on the planet.
Which just goes to show you how well this movie is, that just inanimate objects are creating all this tension and terror.
I turned to my girlfriend during the silo scene, and I was like, yo, fuck this. I don't want to watch this.
To pivot a little bit, what did you think of the sound design of the movie?
I had that on my list as well. It's probably from production standpoint and post editing, a sound designer's dream, Foley dream, because every noise is the main noise. You know what I mean? Usually, the creaking and the clock jiggling or keys jiggling in a hand. Usually, that's drowned out by dialogue or like music. This was not. That was the noise, and I thought they did a really good job with it.
And not only that, but I just love the couple of scenes they did from the girl's point of view, where the whole movie was just deaf, and you're picking up just things going on behind her or other people's reactions to things to see what's going on. I thought that was just incredible.
Yeah, and her being deaf and the monster being behind her and her not seeing it, but the hearing aid like bothering it and it running away, and now the audience knows but they don't know, is great. Great writing. It was a really well made movie. It was really good.
Yes. Although, how much does it suck that they figured out this thing's weakness like 15 minutes after their dad died?
It does. It's good movie making.
That really sucks. The mom's got to be like, you couldn't turn up your hearing aid when your dad was standing there fighting the monster?
Is there anything else?
Speaking about the deaf girl, did you know the actress is actually deaf?
I did. I read that John Krasinski, I didn't read the full article, but he said he really wanted that for some reason, and I didn't. Yeah. I don't. What was the reason? Do you know?
He just wanted, if there was a character with a disability, he wanted to, if possible, to get an actress to actually have that disability. And apparently, their sign language in the film is so well done from people who read sign language because the girl taught them as they were filming.
Yeah,
she was the one who taught them. And the difference between John Krasinski's and Emily Blunt's characters, Emily Blunt's character signs in long, like full sentences, showing like she wants these kids to still have a life and enjoy life, where Krasinski's are very like short, terse responses, showing he just like is worried about getting the point across and trying to survive.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, it's something that they like took into consideration, and the deaf actress helped them actually learn how to do.
That's awesome. I really like that. Would never have picked up on it because I don't know sign language. Wish I did. They didn't offer it at my high school.
Me too. I walked out of the movie being like, that would be a cool skill to know.
Yeah, for sure.
That and piano, I wish I had learned.
We want to go into ratings? We got anything else?
Well, before ratings, I want to bring back an old segment, audience reaction. Did you have any interesting audience reaction during this movie?
It's a crazy movie because you have to be so quiet. Like I kept reading tweets like, can't even eat the popcorn in the theater. It's so everyone's got to be so quiet. Mm-hmm. And like usually I find times that are like have a loud noise or song, and then I whisper to my girlfriend like my thoughts because I love guessing what's going to happen and thinking things out and like talking. But we couldn't even do that. It was so quiet.
That one scene with the fireworks, you had to get all your thoughts out and eat all your popcorn.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. That was a really cool scene. The way that defense mechanism, turning the lights red, the rockets, and then the shotgun. That was really cool.
Yes, I loved all that. Let's talk about it a little bit more. But I want to rant about the fucking audience. So when I saw this movie, It was a packed theater, so you couldn't even move seats. A lady sat down behind me with her 2 7-year-old daughters. Who brings a 7-year-old to this movie? And then the kid proceeds to read every caption on the screen and ask her mom questions. I shushed them, other people shushed them, and they just kept talking.
Jeez.
The entire time. And I wanted to smack a child. I was so angry. Like, who brings a kid to this type of movie? Like, look at the trailer. This isn't a kid's movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I was furious. I want to see the movie again so I can enjoy it more. And I already loved it.
That is bad parenting, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like 5 minutes in, you see a toddler get killed. And you think this is good for your 7-year-old?
The other thing I liked, and this will kind of wrap it up too, is the ending. Like the very ending, like they figured it out. They have a plan, and it's go time. We don't need to see that to get resolution. Like if this was a campy horror, like a campy family movie, we would see the happy ever after. And it's kind of like, we don't know what's going to happen. We just know they finally figured it out and actively had a plan now. And that's win enough for us as an audience.
Yeah, for sure. I saw some people saying her like cocking the shotgun at the end was setting up for a sequel. And I didn't see that at all. I saw it more as just,
no, I wouldn't like it then.
They're gonna know, they know what they're gonna do, and they're gonna be able to survive now.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And we don't, like you said, we don't need to see them fighting these monsters off and teaching other people how to do it.
I think it's better off unseen.
For sure, 100%.
Another quick question: Did when you saw the baby with the mask and the box, did you know right away what that was all about?
Yes, they showed it earlier in the movie too. So I've been thinking about it and assumed it.
When they showed it earlier in the movie, my first thought was they were going to kill the baby. Like they were going to like gas it up, and then that was a coffin.
Oh no, I assumed it was to muffle its noises, and that was just going to be oxygen, so the baby didn't die. Good to know where our brains went completely opposite direction.
I was like, oh fuck, they're going to kill this baby. But I mean,
that would be a real dark movie. She gives birth
before it happened, I figured it out. But that was my first thought.
Damn, that's dark, dude.
Yeah. Well, dude, they opened it up with killing a 2-year-old.
That's true.
I thought they didn't
want to safe.
They didn't want any more pain, and they just like put it out of its misery.
Yeah. All right. Should we hop into our reviews and ranking?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with critical. I'll go first. I'll switch it up. I'm giving this a 96.
Whoa, that's really high. That may be higher than anything we've ever had.
Yes, it's the highest I've given anything. I love this movie. There's a couple of small nitpicky things like you mentioned, but in my head I can come up with reasonable explanations for it, so I don't consider them to break the movie in any way. So there's just no reason for me to not give this a huge high score. I love the direction. I love the sound design. I love all the performances, including the kids, and I normally hate kid actors.
That's so high. I was going 90 for critical.
Yeah, so 93 is our...
Yeah. Like I said, it's a really good movie. I just I can't give it 96. That's so high.
Yeah, I know.
It's not going to be the highest rated critical movie for me.
I wrote down my score as 91 when I left the theater, and just the days since I've been thinking about it, and almost every day I've raised it up another %.
That's what I did the opposite on last episode of Tomb Raider. Like every day I thought about that movie, it got worse and worse in my head.
No, this just keeps getting better, and I want to watch it again to pick up more stuff.
It is like Get Out in that way, where like once you have the whole story, you can go back and read all the clues again.
For sure. I'm excited.
They're not even clues because it wasn't like a spoiler thing. They're just like little tidbits.
Mm-hmm. Just extra backstory, which Mad Max Fury Road is actually like that, where a lot of the backstory is just in the production and like design, and nobody ever like calls attention to it. Which I liked.
I haven't seen it, but I heard it was good.
Oh, you should. Popcorn rating. What are you giving it?
4.5, because there was a little lull in the middle area where I was like, I need the action to start now.
You're like, this needs to pick up now.
Yeah.
Okay. I gave it a 5. Obviously, I love this movie. I understand what you're saying about that lull. So I'll settle on our like episode rating is 4.5. I think you needed that lull to really set up the last half or the last third of the movie, or because then you don't care about the characters.
I agree. It just in my brain, I was like, man, get going, because it's hard. I mean, it's a really hard task. They did a really good job, but that like little section, because there's no talking, and that puts me to sleep. Like I fall asleep to movies that I know have a long segment, of like a long montage, like a river runs through it, or even like some parts of Seabiscuit, and I'll put that on just as background like noise because I know there's just some moving music, no dialogue. That shit puts me to sleep right away.
Nice.
Once it got going, it was awesome. Like, this movie is really good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, if you're gonna watch it again, what are you gonna drink with it?
Oh. Like I'm gonna drink sleep. I'm gonna what's the stuff the rappers purple drank where it's like
lean?
The sleep, lean or purple drank, the sleep medicine.
Shout out Sleep Medicine, sponsor of the pod.
Robitussin, is that what it is?
Robitussin, and Z-Quil is one.
Yeah, Z-Quil and whiskey, because that's just gonna knock me out and then I'm not making any noise.
Yeah. I wrote down water because I was so tense during this movie. I didn't want to open my bottle of water in the theater that like I was parched by the end of it. I chugged a bottle and a half on my way home. All right. Well, that wraps up our review of A Quiet Place. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you've seen it, go see it again. I'm very happy this movie's doing well in theaters because small independent movies like this should do well.
Really good.
I don't want it to all be Marvel movies out there.
I wondered why this was released in April, which is typically a dump month for, it's not a summer blockbuster. It's not Oscar worthy. So it goes into, this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's because they didn't want to compete with anyone else, or maybe they thought it was going to get worse response than it did. But it definitely is released at the wrong time. This should have been a summer blockbuster.
Oh, no, I think this should have been released as an Oscar contender.
One or the other. I think it's a mixture, like Get Out was.
Yeah, for sure. And that was dumped in February as well, I think, right?
Yeah, that was in a dump month as well. It's weird.
Yeah.
I guess.
But hey, maybe that's just changing that, like, good movies are being released year-round now.
Maybe, but it's still a little iffy. This is the only one right now that's really in the wild that we've said is really good.
What about that great movie Tomb Raider we just reviewed?
Yeah. See, that should be a summer blockbuster, but they knew it wasn't good enough, so they dumped it early.
So they moved it back. I think it did get moved up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. But moving on, let's do our weekly recommendations. What have you been watching?
So I have notes here that I forgot to read last week.
Okay.
When we did Tomb Raider. But
all right.
The week before that, you and Sheehan were on here doing game night, and you guys talked about Mean Girls. Mm-hmm. And you said that it still holds up, which I agree with. Mean Girls still holds up. That weekend, I was in Florida with my friend Jake and my brother, and we were just watching random movies. We watched 2 movies. We watched Beer Fest and Reno 911 Miami. Beer Fest does not hold up. Have you seen that recently?
No, my roommates were watching it like a week ago, but I came in like in the last 30 minutes. So I was like, I'll just rewatch it another time.
My little brother had never seen it because he's, young. He's 18.
Yeah.
And he was like, why are we watching this terrible movie? And then Jake and I were kind of like, oh boy, this movie kind of sucks. And I loved Beer Fest when it came out.
I loved it too. Speaking of Beer Fest though, Super Troopers 2. That's coming out soon. And I'm so hesitant on if it's going to be good. I keep going back and forth.
I think the trailer looks Dumb and Dumber 2-esque. I think it looks
the trailer convinced me it could be good. I thought it was going to be horrible, and then the trailer convinced me. But that also comes out on 420, and I feel like we might need to do a 420 special episode.
All right. And then Reno 911 Miami holds up big time. We were laughing. My little brother, me, Jake.
Does it? I don't think I've seen it since it came out.
Dude, that movie's so good. It's just little. I mean, it's like niche humor and kind of just so weird and wacky and dumb that it can always last, like Dumb and Dumber original one. But yeah, that holds up. So go watch Reno 911 and don't watch Beer Fest. I was very saddened by how bad Beer Fest was.
That's it. Super Troopers 1 does hold up though. I watched that a couple months ago.
Yep.
That's from the same guy, Broken Lizard.
Yep.
Okay. Are you watching anything else? Or was it just those?
Dude, I'm watching so many shows. There's so many shows out right now.
It's so hard to keep track of things.
Silicon Valley, Last Man on Earth, Billions, Trust.
How is Trust? I want to watch that. I've heard it's good.
I actually haven't watched it yet, but it's on my list.
Oh, all right. I was going to start it after we recorded.
Barry, The Americans, AP Bio, Atlanta. Those are all on right now.
Sweet. Yeah, I agree with all those. I caught up on Atlanta this weekend. The latest episode that's focused on Darius, which is basically just a Michael Jackson-inspired thriller horror episode, which was very weird and like unsettling, but I was captivated.
Yeah, I liked the episode before that, Barbershop, a lot.
Yes, where it was just Al.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's good. I'll throw a sci-fi recommendation in here too. I just restarted The Expanse. It's on the Sci-Fi Channel. You would hate it, Jimmy, but anyone out there listening who likes sci-fi, it's the first series where the Sci-Fi Channel decided we're going to actually put money and get good writers. It's based on a book series that is written by George R.R. Martin's top editors he had for the first 3 books. And after they leave as his editors, you notice the quality go down. The book series is great too. Yeah. His 4th and 5th books they're good, but they're not nearly as great as the first 3. And I think it's because these guys left and like they were culling his bad ideas.
Interesting. It's like when Quentin Tarantino's editor died and then his movies just were really long because she would cut out like 40 minutes.
Yeah, or George Lucas and his wife separated, and none of his movies since then have been as good because she would edit them.
Yeah, it's tough. Divorces and deaths. Terrible.
Shit. All right, well, that wraps up this week's episode of Six Pack Cinema. Tune in next week. We'll have another movie for you, or in the meantime, listen to our latest mini episode of The Terror, episode 3. Coming at you soon. Bye, guys. Nice. Love you.
Bye.